Okay, so I watched your video like a million times to try to see to really get myself thinking about it. I think that I've always thought that always oh iTunes go away. Okay, I've always thought that eating healthy is I'm not editing this. I'm not editing this out. Edit and save. Edit. I've always thought that that's sexy. Of course, I'm going to think that men feel like if women are eating healthy and taking care of themselves, obviously that's sexy because you care about yourself and you're looking after yourself. And especially as a woman, that's something that's, a valuable trait for us is showing that we care for ourselves, that we make ourselves look the best that we can, and we take care of ourselves as much as we can, outwardly and inwardly, and all that kind of stuff. That's an asset to have as a woman. For a man, not so much, because we're not so concerned with aesthetics like men are, and we're more concerned with the inside. So it's not like our focus. But yeah, sure, I think that they think that it's a sexy thing because I know I think that it's a sexy thing for a guy to be taking care of himself and care about what he eats and taking care of himself and all that kind of stuff. But it's within reason. Like if you have time, then do it. If you don't, then don't. Um, but yeah, I mean, what else can I say about it? You mentioned a lot of stuff about like eating, like going out and eating or whatever, and like how they might feel if everyone's chowing down on like pizza and burgers and all that kind of stuff, and you're not. I don't know. I know a lot of people don't notice because I know a lot of times you hear stories about people who are like, oh yeah, when we were dating or when we first date, we're on our first date, I barely ate a thing because I was so nervous and I didn't want to eat in front of them and da 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 da. And like when you go back and tell that story, like the male in the story never is like, oh really, I didn't even notice that. Even my mom was saying that about one of her first dates. she like didn't even eat her. She had like a little salad or like a tomato. Oh, I'm full. Like I don't know what she did, but she said that and like shoes. Like she could like barely walk. She's like inside I was like, ugh, but outside I was like, so it was funny because my dad was like, you didn't even notice, and I've heard that like that's like typical. So and I've done that myself. On the other hand, there are some males that notice. They're like, you're not gonna eat. Like, why aren't you gonna eat? Like, so it could go either way. But I think that sometimes there are males that don't know a lot about nutrition. Most people don't know a lot about nutrition. Okay, so that's one thing. But then some males like they don't really know a whole lot about a woman's body. Most. So they don't really understand that our metabolism isn't as quick, we don't burn as many calories, and to go out and eat those kinds of foods that are high in fat and calories, it's really not going to be kind to our bodies unless you are one of those people who have a higher metabolism for the moment, because a lot of times that changes over time as you get older as a woman. But they don't understand that, and so some men can sort of wonder why you're not eating all the stuff that everybody else is eating, but I don't think that it necessarily bothers them like that much or they find it unsexy or anything like that. Um, but I'll tell you what can be unsexy. Someone who's complains about having to always eat the salad or something like that. Like that's unsexy. That's not fun. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's what we have to do. I don't know. It's a give and take. You just gotta balance. But there are other things other than salad. There's salmon and there's there's a billion other things to eat that are um, nutrient dense and not high in fat and all that kind of stuff. So, if you find those things and you find what you really enjoy to eat that's healthy and that, really does something good for your body and it's your routine and it's something that you don't have a problem with, then that's the best. That's the best option for you as a woman because then you can go out there and whatever. They're going to eat like they're fill in the blank, whatever, whatever men eat. They eat everything because doesn't show up around their waist and stuff. But and you can be just as satisfied eating your healthy food and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Then also you mentioned like you can just share, like you can just like take a couple bites of theirs. That's also a good thing. Or on the other hand, if you're eating clean all week, I mean like eat whatever you want when you go out. But chances are after doing so well for so long, you're probably not going to want to have a hamburger. You're probably not going to want to have some of those things. And that could be an awkward transition too because the other person's not going to understand and like that's what they want to eat. So, um, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it is sexy for anybody to care about how they look because it's unsexy for people to not care how they look. Sometimes I don't care how I look because I'm too busy and I'm like going in a million directions at the same time. So it's really impossible. Something has got to always fall through for me in order to complete all those things, and then I switch it around or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I feel unsexy when I can't do the things that I normally would. Like, let's just say it's a perfect world. I'm a housewife, and or let's just say like I'm a doctor and I have, I'm a dermatologist, so I work 3-4 days a week, and I'm not on call, and I have all the time in the world. Yeah, I'm gonna be like doing my Pilates all the time. I'm gonna be eating awesome meals all the time because I'm going to have the time to grocery shop and I'm going to have the time to cook every day and I'm going to have the time to go on my walks and walk Mikhail and all these kind of things. Like, yeah, so great. But, if you don't have all that time, then you can't do all those things. And so sometimes you can feel not as sexy. I'm not going to say like completely unsexy because even when I was around, I still felt sexy. Um, you should. You should feel good at every size that you are, and I do. But now, being the size that I am, and being at a different fitness level than I was a year ago, it's not that I'm like I felt unsexy or anything like that before, or I felt other people felt like that about me. It's just that now I feel more athletic, and that's like a different version of me. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Taking care of yourself, eating well is sexy, and I think that other people feel like that too. But it is unfortunate. Another thing that you mentioned that for a woman, that's like of high importance to her man and of the men around her, how she looks. Um, but for the men, not so much. They can be super skinny. They can be super fat. They can be balding. They can be have a gut. They can be a lot of things, and it's not going to stop them from anything really. So, but for a woman, her beauty, her importance sometimes lies in her beauty. Like the people will treat you differently. People will value you differently. People will talk to you differently. People will not recognize you at all. People are dumb. So, well, that's the world's way. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. But yeah. So what that girl said, I agree that we are held to like this one standard, and men are not, and it's just the way that it is. But okay, I think I'm done. I have nothing else to say.